Drawing is hard, especially for artists that are just starting out their journey. I remember how bad of a quality my art had when I just began to draw. I felt overwhelmed looking at all these great artworks and artists out there, and my art not being even close to their quality. Some of you might agree with me now. Maybe you feel just like that right now, or you did when you were starting out. So, I collected a few tips, especially for the beginners out there, but also for everyone in every stage of drawing. These are just things I wish someone had told me when I was drawing my first pony character and was frustrated of how they looked and how my skill didn't match up to my expectations. The first thing I would definitely consider as a beginner artist is: don't look at good art. Well, that sounds a bit harsh, but looking at top-tier artists and their drawing can be frustrating. You are not in that stage of complexity in your art yet, so looking at beautifully drawn scenery pictures with intense shading might not be the right thing. Let's make an example and compare driving with that. If you are just starting to get the hang of steering and braking, you will probably not watch car races and go, I want to do that now. It needs a process to be that good. That also brings me to the next tip. Surround yourself with artists in your stage. When I first started out, I met a lot of artists that were just as good as me, or even a little bit better or worse. With that, I don't want to shame anyone's art out there, but in my impression back then, there were people with more high quality art and ones that weren't as experienced as me. That can help with staying in the art bubble. People that are a little bit more advanced can give you tips, and you can give tips to artists that may be a stage below. That way you don't lose the fun in drawing, because you can share your work and receive interest for it. But especially, don't compare your art to others. I know, that is impossible. But hear me out here. If you are always comparing your art to top-tier artists, that will demotivate you. You will start to think you can never be that good and probably lose the fun in drawing. And again, compare yourself with people in your stage. If you compare your art with someone who is a little bit better than you, the jump in quality doesn't seem too high and overwhelming. For me, the next tip wasn't hard at all. Draw every chance you get. I drew in every free second of my day. In school, please don't do that at lectures. At home, when my family and me stayed somewhere, always. And that showed in my rapid progress with my art. Your brain needs time to develop habits and keep information. Especially in drawing, your brain needs time to process and find techniques to draw. Your first 5 artworks might look wobbly, but your 6th one will look more stable. Trust me. Even though the tip before was easy as pie for me, I struggle with this one to this day. Draw everything. Ponies were the first and only thing I drew in my beginning stages. With that, I knew how to draw ponies very well, but I couldn't draw a tree or any scenery. No other animals or, God forbid, humans. Even though it might seem useless to practice humans or scenery if you want to be a pony artist, it helps with the general understanding of how things work, anatomy and shapes. As I began to draw furries well into my art journey, my proportions were off and I didn't know how to draw anything else than ponies. I had to relearn drawing, and that, my friends, I wish nobody. If you are just starting out, you may be slower than others, but take your time and keep erasing. Even if your paper looks like a crinkled mess, just keep going. The image in your brain will always be more advanced than your skills, but try to get as close as possible, even if that needs a few more tries. But also use references. That is the most important tip I have on here. Even if you want to draw something very cartoony, it is important to start with the real life example. You need to know the rules to break them. References can also help with perspective and inspiration. Lastly, 2 small tips. Watch Speedpaints. And not just mindlessly look in your phone, but try to understand the thought process behind the step the artist makes. Look at how they build structure and how they place lines. I have a lot of speed paints on this channel, shameless advertising for myself, with different stages in my art journey. And do tutorials. Even though tutorials might feel like you need help and can't get your goal alone, see them as more of a support. These are basically speed paints, but slowed down and explained. A lot of big artists made tutorial, so maybe your favorite artist did too. To conclude everything, the most important part of drawing is having fun creating new worlds and pieces of art. Don't be too hard on yourself for not achieving the highest tier. Be happy with what you can create. That is more than the most non-artists can do. And if you didn't start to draw yet, begin now. Just grab your piece of paper and a pen and start doodling away. If you didn't start, you already lost. And with that, this video comes to an end. In my end card, you will probably see some of my speed paints and tutorials I did, which you are very welcome to watch. If you like these tips and want to support me, subscribe and give this video a like. And maybe even check out my other socials in my description down below. Bye, Fluffers!